As two guys talked about retirement, as you know, Ed Reed, Derek Mason, any updates on that end? Are you concerned at all with Troy Smith, whose agent complained about the lack of playing time he's receiving?
Give me the first one again. I got to the Troy Smith one. It caught my attention.
And Troy Smith.
Derek in retirement.
Are you at all concerned about?
Oh, Ed. Well, you know, that's good. We kind of addressed this at the last end of the season meeting, but I know both those guys love football and they both want to play. So, you know, as far as Ed, I've said this before, and Ed knows. Ed's going to hear this probably. He's going to hear me say it. Maybe he'd say something different, but I believe Ed's going to play next year. Then again, if he decides, and it's his choice, and that's something he's got to decide for himself. If he doesn't, we'll have to have a plan in place to move on. But we just had our discussions about Ed. There's no better leader. There's no better football player. There's no better guy on our team than Ed Reed, and we need him back. He's a huge part of our puzzle. So, and I would say the same thing about Derek. Now, it depends on contract things and where he's at as far as his career, but we're going to try to do everything we can to get Derek back. I'm a coach. You want as many good players as you can possibly get. And those are two really good players, and I'm kind of somewhat counting on them right now as we go forward.
On the second question about Troy and the agent supposedly asking to be traded, I think I have pretty good communications around the league. I think the majority of the people know who the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens is. I have not heard from his agent. And I know who his agent is personally, so I have not heard that. Now, when it comes to trading any player, I think we're open to it. You know, we're open to making our football team better. And that's where the four of us, if we get something, some team calls us and willing to make us an offer for basically any player, that we'll sit there and listen to it, and then we'll talk about it. And if there's an opportunity for us to improve our team by trading away a player, which will allow us to get another player, then we'll do it.
For Steve and Ozzie, Steve first, when you look at the overall state of the franchise, do you feel this team is maybe a player or two away from being in the Super Bowl? And for Ozzie, regarding the wide receiver situation, are you tired of the questions over and over every year when it comes to the draft and finding the big-time guy to go to? And would you consider trading a top draft pick, a number one, for a premier wide receiver?
You want Steve to go first? You want me to go first?
Whatever order you guys would like.
Okay. You know, having sat here for 14 years, I think every year I've come in here, there has been some need that we needed. When we first got here to Baltimore, we couldn't play defense. I mean, we could light it up, and we couldn't stop water when it come to playing defense. And so we put a concerted effort into building a defense that, you know, some people say may go down to be one of the best defenses in the history of our game. So, you know, now then, what else is next? You know, we don't have an offensive line. And now you look at our offensive line, and we got youth, we got depth, and they're pretty good. Quarterback. I mean, so each year is going to be something. And that's a challenge that my staff and the coaches, we look forward to. Yeah, it's a challenge for us to continue to meet those needs. But, you know, I can say that, you know, we need a playmaker outside, yes, but we need some other things to help us to make sure that we can compete to be in the Super Bowl also. But I will, if we are able to answer that question, then you'll be standing here next year saying we need something else. And I'm going to go, yes, we do.
Number one, though, would you consider it?
You know, like I said, I leave myself open to anything. And we just spent 2 great days with Steve. And Steve will probably tell you, I kept saying, let's keep our options open on anything. If we can improve our football team, then we will do it. But it will take, we have a process in place. And I'm not going to bore you with the process thing. But, you know, if there's an opportunity for us to do it in that manner, yes, we will. Because I want to win just like you guys want to win.
Well, I'll get to that question. When you talk about the weaknesses of our team, it's safe to say that most of you watch enough football to know who the best in every position is across the league. I mean, you could spout them out if we said corners and then safeties and down the line. At $125 million, if we wanted to get a guy in the top 10 at his position, in every position, it would cost us $200 million. I'm not allowed to do that. But that's really what it would take in order to get to the point where you all felt that we had a great linebackers core, a great defensive line, a great, defensive backfield, great receivers. So no matter what city you're in, they're showing up in different places. And so, we've always had a great defense, and we've got to be careful that we don't run out and fill all those holes and just create them somewhere else. So, and we went from 2,900 yards to 3,600 yards this year, and if Joe's on pace, maybe we go to 4,100. And I think there were 10 quarterbacks this year that threw for 4,000 yards. We'd certainly like him to be there. That's that's how we get there is a different story. So, but you all know football well enough to know that everything is relative, and we can't have even the top half of every position in the league. So it's all going to be dead middle. And so we're going to have guys that are at the top 10 of the 32 out there, and in the middle and in the bottom. And like I said, that's just our goal, is to fill all those spots. Back to your first question, I have no idea what it was. I have attention deficit.
A couple of players away from being in the Super Bowl.
They say that's fool's gold, right? I mean, to get caught up in that you're one or two players away. But the answer is, if we win a Super Bowl next year, then Ozzie will probably say that we were those two players away from it. I mean, when you look back at Sam Adams and Shannon Sharp, I would say that those were the couple pieces that got us over the hump in 2000. So stay tuned, and if we win, then we'll tell you the guys that were the difference makers in getting us there.